Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Wabedum time aso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya mabesisia. Abozege. Akache say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby wom. Ready? Hey, baby wom. Uncle. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Uncle. Sorry, well, uncle, where would I die? Why your funeral? At your phone for Aerofield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share Nanda Daya was mosquito call is to do woman. Na say spray with them musa. Chaisima a dronum and sana ko dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA Ajatum.
You're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. The show is also live on 94.1 FM on your radio dial. So in case you can't watch the show on your TV, you have an alternative, which is to monitor the show on your radio dial, which is 94.1. As I keep saying, for now, it's 94.1. It doesn't have any, but what I can promise you and assure you is that it's crystal clear. So you can watch it. Now you've given an alternative so that you don't miss out on anything here, on the action here. Now, with me is an elderly statesman and a journalist, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., and also a member of parliament for the Furikrom constituency, that's Michael Kwesi Edu. He is also a member of the Youth and Sports Committee. In fact, he's a deputy ranking member on the Youth and Sports Committee in parliament. So we're talking about the NPP's internal race or internal contest. And two people have picked forms, Kennedy Japan and Mr. Kwabena Ejapon, two Ejapons. One is a former member of parliament for the Asin Central constituency. One is a former general secretary and also former press secretary to the president, Kufuor. He's an engineer. We all know that Kwabena Ejapon is an engineer. And the other, Ken, is a businessman. So we're trying to look at the two persons who have picked up the form, but more important for us is what we're beginning to see by way of movements across the two major camps, or what I call the two front runners. And we're told Dr. Mark Esibe Yabua, for instance, who is an economist and I believe a former deputy finance minister, I believe so, right? Yes, he is now in the camp of Kennedy Ejapong.
No, not a former deputy finance.
He's not a former deputy, yeah. He's just a former MP. But I don't know whether I think at some point he was a deputy former.
He had a position now, finally.
Okay, right. But I know he's a former MP, isn't it? Yeah, that's yeah. Who is now in the camp of Kennedy Ejapong. And then we have the likes of Abena Osei-Asare. I think she's the MP for Tiwa East. I believe so, yes, and a former deputy finance minister. She's also in Kennedy Ejapong's camp. And then we're also told that Dr. Alex Ampabing, who is a former deputy finance minister under the Nanando administration, and he is also with the Ken team. And then Kweku Kwarteng, who is the MP for Boise East, and also a former deputy finance minister and a former public relations officer for the finance ministry under Kufuor. I recall because I used to talk to him back in the day. He's also with the Ken team, and I'm told they form the fulcrum of Kent economic team, right? Economic committee, and so. But I was asking, he's MPP, and I wanted to find out from him whether these things mean anything at all. And he was just telling me that it's a normal movement, these things happening in internal politics, and that at the end of the day, it's what happens on the ground who the rank and file would want as their leader. But I asked the question before we went on break, and I asked you as an MP, because you just told me that some of the aspirants are lobbying. At least 3 of them have approached you, and they've told you why you should settle on them or vote for them. What do you look out for instance, in deciding who you want to give your vote to at the end of the day?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. Different people may have different reasons or things that they look out for. I look out for the individual's character.
Okay.
I look out for the individual's intellect.
Now, character is a little vague. Character as in?
No, character is character. I don't think
as in the way the person talks, the way the person carries himself.
Character is everything about
the person,
you, about your persona. Okay. So, individual's character, I look out for the individuals, how they exhibit knowledge. I look at their past history records, even the academic preferentials and all that. I also look out for their likability.
Okay.
And then their personal relationships within the party also. And even when you go to the grassroots, how they respond to their individual and their marketability. I look at all those things. So the factors are plenty. Sometimes I look at some of the policies they've even brought out before or the things they've said. If they were government appointees, what were some of the policies they implemented? Whether they did it themselves or people helped them, was it good enough? Would they resonate to the people? In case I was to sell them or I was to market them across the country, what would I say about them? So the things that come together for you to form an opinion of whether somebody is good or not can be diverse. It's not just limited to one issue or something. There are times to you also look at even how the individual composes themselves and their charisma. You have to look at all those things because at the end of the day, it is not just about the party. When the person is chosen, so all those things come to play. But then other people may have different reasons why they choose a candidate. Somebody may choose a candidate because the candidate is handsome.
Mm. But those things don't matter to you. The person. Okay.
Because you are going to sell them to Ghanaians. So if the woman, when President Kufuor was coming those days, they would say President Kufuor is the giant, handsome gentle giant, and all that. Atame was active as an MP, individual candidates, and then you also add that to as a function to making a choice. But the choice does not stand with one individual. More than 200,000 people will be voting. So when everybody puts in their votes, and then collectively we see the one that the majority says they want. Maybe I want Moro, but then the majority will say they want somebody else. And we all have to go with the majority.
Why don't you want to follow your conviction, regardless of what the majority wants?
Because opinions are different. As you are sitting here, I may say something, Uncle Kwesi Pratt may not agree. He may say something, I may agree or may not agree. So opinions are always varying.
Okay.
You cannot have everybody thinking the same, especially when it comes to politics. That is how you get two siblings from the same family, but then different political ideologies. That is how you get the Abanges going to different political parties, and you get the Jinapos going to different political parties. You cannot never have people having the same, agreeing to the same principles or opinions in politics. So once it's like that, even in internal elections, it becomes competitive because people have different beliefs, different perceptions, based on who I may be talking to, based on where I sit, or based on even the constituency I'm coming from. It may have an effect on my perception about a candidate. So all these things come to play.
Tribe, religion, the person's ability to generate resources.
I personally don't dwell so much on religion.
Where the person comes from.
I use this analogy that a lot of people have used, that when you take an airplane, you take Passion Air or African World, you don't go and ask what is the tribe or religion of the pilot.
Yes. You just want to compete.
You just want to get home safely.
Yeah.
So I do
in fact,
not
you've gone too far. When you go to the hospital.
Yes, exactly. When a doctor is coming to take care of you and you're in an emergency and you are very sick, you don't ask, doctor,
where do you come from?
Where do you come from? Are you MPP or NDC, or are you a Muslim or a Christian? Okay, you don't look at these things.
They don't matter.
Exactly. So
can you do the job? Simplicity.
The most important thing is someone who can do the job. And when you're analyzing someone who can do the job, you then add the other things, other factors that you think will help the person. And especially in politics, the other factors that will help the person win.
Do you also reckon that there are instances when people are very competent, but for some reason, the party or Ghanaians may not like that person?
Yeah, it's also possible. I'm a member of parliament today, and I have always believed that in politics there's something called timing. If your timing is wrong, no matter how competent you are, you will not get the opportunity.
Yeah.
If you get your timing right, you will be able to, you enter once and then boom, you are there.
Okay.
And now in Ghana too, there's this monocracy issue. Yeah. People may push someone because they have money. People may push someone because they have money and they think they can finance an election. All these are coming to play. Today, even yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, I was watching the Akwetia primaries for the NDC.
Yes.
And some people were angry because they perceived that a particular candidate had paid more. And they were so angry. Meanwhile, their candidate too had paid something small. So everybody paid, but somebody had a stronger muzzle. Understand? So these things come to play. You cannot sweep it under the carpet. Yeah, they all come to play. But at the end of the day, I believe that the people who vote are also discerning. They will look at the individual candidates and see who best fits, because MPP has always done it. And at every point in time in our elections, when you think that the water is boiling to the maximum, you realize they go and vote and everything just calms down back to normal. So okay. I expect that the same thing will happen. All the messages ongoing, the noise and all that, the heat is part of the rebuilding process. It energizes the base of the party and all that. But I will expect that we are careful and measured in our language, in our tone, so that at the end, you all be able to come together and unite. Because if you are not careful and we say some words that are so harming and injurious, what will happen is it will dissipate the front of the party, and bringing us together will be very difficult.
All right. Okay, see. He tells us these movements mean nothing. Do you agree?
Well, I met a young lawyer who used to be a member of the communications team of the New Patriotic Party. I'm talking about Apia Dankwa. young, articulate lawyer. And he's now with the Movement for Change.
Yeah.
So I met him and I said, look, maybe you guys are going to go back to the Movement for Change. And he said, never. He said, never. He's finished with the New Patriotic Party and is looking for a new future and so on. Now, in the conversation, he said something which is very striking. He spoke about the core values of the party which have been abandoned. You understand? And he's now saying that in the party, nobody is talking about values anymore. It has become a free-for-all, directionless, just focused on personalities and so on. And he says that he cannot go back to a party like that. This is Apia Dankwa. And I think he said that also publicly several times. Okay. And he's not the only one. Now, what is striking for me is that one of the presidential aspirants has the same message. I'm talking about Boachi Ejako. Boachi Ejako. And I'm not so sure about Kwabena Japan, but I'm very sure about Boachi Ejako, who is saying that...
No, Kwabena has also said same, but I understand.
He's
head of Boachi, so that's
we have to go back to the principles and values of the party.
Yeah. He worked with what he has heard, which is fine.
And more than that, I'm being very careful for very good reason.
Okay.
But I've heard Boachi Ejako talk about a return to the core values and so on. And of course, he's not the only one.
Yeah.
But the point is that the state in which the party finds itself today, it is not possible to win an election in this state. No matter who is elected as the presidential candidate, if the party remains in this state, there's trouble. So I would have thought that the focus would have been on rebuilding and, if you like, rebranding the party first.
But Uncle C, sorry for cutting you. That's the conference that was held recently captures this very advice that you're giving them. In fact, the theme is rebuilding together with our values.
Rebuilding a party is not a team.
Okay.
It's not the team you select. It's far more than that.
Right.
You understand? So the party needs to be rebuilt, needs to be refashioned. It needs to come out with a new vision and message. And it hasn't happened yet. I mean, I had an interview, more than an hour, interview with Kennedy Akompreko Ejapon. And there was some very interesting things. First of all, he now looks and sounds modest and calm. It's a totally different Kennedy Ejapon that I interviewed. The Kennedy Ejapon I interviewed is not the Kennedy Ejapon of old. Calm, relaxed. And I think that he himself recognizes the need to rebrand himself. And also spoke quite well about the need to change the way the party is structured and so on. Okay. Now this is going to be a very interesting competition. Very, very interesting competition. It appears that there are some seismic shifts in the party. This is not the party which contested elections in 2024. And the candidates are not the same candidates. They've all undergone some dramatic changes, you understand? First of all, Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is no longer a sitting vice president. So it's going to be difficult for him to benefit from incumbency. You understand? That's going to be a handicap he has to overcome. Today, I'm reading one of the newspapers, I don't know which one, which plays a certain interesting game with the last election results. A very, very interesting game with the last election results. You know, all of that is going to play out in the contest for the selection of a new flag bearer. Oh, it's
It's an insight. Interesting.
It's a newspaper
Please let me have the rest of the
associated with, you know.
So you can keep the insight.
Yeah. Wow, it's the insight. And it says 2024 elections. 20 out of about 30 polling stations, Bawumia scored 0 revealed. This kind of game is going to go on. You know, it's going to go on. And it may make some impact. Okay.
Okay.
A few things have happened in the party which are interesting. One, the amnesty given to all those who left or were forced out of the party. It's interesting. The question is how many of them are going to take advantage of that amnesty and come back to the fold. That will also be very interesting.
Actually, the amnesty is for persons who were either suspended indefinitely or sacked. Those who went on their own free will are not affected by that amnesty. Because it's your decision. So if you want to come back...
I suppose that by extension, you know, they may be able to exercise that.
Okay.
But the question then is, who is coming? And so on. So you have all of these, and the contest has been opened. It appears to be a very expensive contest. As for registration and nomination and so on, that comes to about 600,000 Ghana cedis per candidate. But there's more. I mean, if you look at the branding which is going on, you just have to drive through the streets of Accra to see how expensive this campaign is going to be, the billboards and so on. You understand? So it's going to be a very expensive campaign. And I wonder, I've heard, for example, that my very good friend, Adai Nimo, may join the race. You know, the last time, his main handicap was the fact that he didn't have resources at all.
Does he have it now?
But that's the point I'm making. Because it's going to be more expensive now than it was before. And if he didn't have the resources the last time, how is he able to cope with now that the momentum is much greater and the expenditure is expected to be higher than the last time? How is somebody like Adai Nimo going to cope? Even though potentially he's a very good candidate, you know. I mean, the first time Adai Nimo made the headlines, nobody knew him. And he went into the elections and placed third with you know, convincing number of votes. And so everybody said, look, this is the guy to watch. But then he's been dwindling, you know, since then, apparently because of the lack of resources. Whatever it is, there's a certain momentum which is building up around the Ken campaign. And you cannot deny that. There's a certain very strong momentum building up around the Ken campaign. I mean, all the names you yourself mentioned and so on suggest that a certain momentum is building up. How that will play out, I'm not sure. I don't know.
He says it's much ado about nothing.
I didn't say it's much ado about.
I mean, yes, it's not.
I said the work is on the ground. So
okay.
If you use the words much ado about nothing, more like
that's my words.
We are just.
You're dismissing.
You're dismissing
the importance
you can't
of these
dismiss,
movements. That's fine. That's fine. I totally understand. So I take back those words. But saying that it's not really it's not a big deal. Let me put it that way, right? It is, but it's not. The movement is not such a big deal.
Yeah. But you see, in talking about the state of the party, only yesterday I read some newspaper reports which were also very troubling. I'm sure you also saw them.
Yes.
The report which said that the acting national chairman of the party was not informed about a meeting.
Yes, I saw that publication.
First of all, he is the person who should have called the meeting, but was not even informed about the meeting. He heard about the meeting from third parties and so on. And I was told that that had generated some, you know, troublesome scenarios within the party. It was in the newspapers, all over the newspapers yesterday. You know, that's a problem also. Because it's not just the election of the presidential candidate which is the problem. It definitely will be coupled with the election of party executives. And if it's going to be coupled with the election of party executives, you've got to be looking at the pairings. Kennedy Japan, who is he going to support for national chairman? Is it going to be Wuntumi? Is it going to be John Boydu? Is it going to be Joe Gatti?
But you see, that would be after the Flagbearer elections.
No, it will start now.
Oh, you mean the campaign?
Yeah, the parents will start now.
Yeah, the campaigns,
the allegiances will be seen clearly. Okay?
True.
So if Kennedy Japan is going with John Boydu, what are the implications of that for his candidature?
Yeah.
If he's going to go with Wuntumi, what are the implications and so on? So all of these permutations would have to come in, and I'm just waiting to see.
Well, is Joe Gatti coming for national chairman?
I've heard his name very strongly.
Okay, that's interesting.
And also, I've heard the name, and I'm sure you have, of Boakye Jaku very strongly.
I have even said in my constituency that I would wish Boakye Jaku will come for national chairman. But
apparently he wants to go for the presidential candidate.
He wants to go for the presidential candidate. And he met with the chairman in a large gathering. Yes. And the chairman told him, "We want you to come as national chairman." So that was an endorsement.
Interestingly, he didn't give any response.
All the chairman.
I saw that video.
Endorsement.
He didn't give any response. He just kept quiet.
So let's wait and see how it plays
out. Again, I'm very careful when I come and sit here. You understand? Because there are several conversations that you have with people, and unless you have their permission, you cannot make it public. You understand? But I know that Boakye Jaku is very keenly aware of the fact that there's a clamor for him to become national chairman. Yeah. And I've heard that from many people. And in fact, on one occasion I was with you when a member of parliament, said, if only Boakye Jaku would abandon the presidential race and go for national chairman, all of us are going to do whatever it takes to make him national chairman. You were there.
Yeah.
So it is clear, that there's a groundswell of support for Boakye Jaku as national chairman. But from what I know, I don't think he's interested. I think he wants to become the presidential candidate. Even though it would appear that that's a more difficult task.
Yeah.
But then he's a guy who likes challenges. And let's see what happens,
Whether some challenges are worth taking up, I don't know.
But the time I've known Boakye, he's always fought for what he believes in.
I still believe it's early days, so maybe time will tell whether he will go for the flag bearership or not.
But maybe. No, you've made it very interesting. Maybe I need to ask Uncle C this question. Do you foresee this internal MPP contest to be a tight one, or you think that whoever would win with a landslide or the wide margin?
I won't venture. I won't make this prediction
because it's tricky.
Because the ground is not clear. The ground is not clear at all. Anybody who today is predicting the outcome of this presidential race must be careful.
Why?
Because there's so many things are shifting every day, every hour. Things are shifting. And they are shifting in very substantial ways. You understand? That I think that we ought to be careful. As of last week, if you had asked me last week, I would have said that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would win
the comfortable lead,
the race. If you asked me last week, I would have said so. Okay. After 7 days, I'll be more careful. I'll be more careful. He could very well win, but it's not going to be an easy race for him at all. It's going to be a very tough race. And the signs are clear, There are some that you can write off. There are about 2 or 3 names that have been mentioned that you can comfortably write off. But there are about 2 or 3 others who are going to go into a very tough competition.
That's
it's not
true.
going to be easy at all.
I agree with him.
Meanwhile, whoever wins this race needs to win it comfortably in order to send a signal across very strongly that the party is overwhelmingly behind you. No?
That signal may be important, but it is not the most important signal. The most important signal is that they need to send a message that they know the problems of Ghana, they understand the problems of Ghana, they have a solution to the problems of Ghana, and they have to admit that the last 8 years didn't go well. And they must explain why the last 8 years didn't go well.
For you, that's more important. Okay, so I guess that we can...
I think with that admission, we've already started.
Yes.
When we went for the conference, if you listen to the leader of the minority, Honorable Alexander Afenyo, his statement, he admitted clearly that our last government didn't go well, and he even apologized to Ghanaians that things didn't go well, and that we will sit down.
But sometimes I feel the more comments like this are made.
Moro, there's a problem. Yeah, it's okay to go out there and say that the last government things didn't go well, we'll do better and so on. But when in the same breath, you make statements like, oh, they say inflation has gone down, but prices have not gone down. People begin to doubt even your technical competence. Because even a JSS student knows that when inflation goes down, prices do not automatically go down. You understand? So there's a lot of work to be done.
That comes in when the current government, like you just said, people know that when inflation goes down, prices automatically don't go down. But then the narrative is being driven that inflation has gone down, so prices have gone down.
Yeah, but that's by...
So definitely anybody speaking to the issues will try to explain that no, prices have not gone down, the value is still the same. Even if prices will go down, it will take a while. And the factors and forces that will let prices come down is not changing so much. Over the period, if you look at petroleum, I always use petroleum because I know petroleum has more effect on the movement of prices. Petrol prices went up, and then diesel stayed at 12 cedi. Today, petrol is back to 14. Petrol is back to 14. And by the time if OPEC is considering some things, if you are not careful, diesel too go back to 14. So these are factors you may not even have control. So you don't go out there and celebrate because inflation is going down. You know, in our politics, depending on where you stand at any moment of time, you may use the microeconomic indicators to speak, but the real value that people are getting is also there, and someone else will also use the real value to also speak.
But I'm saying that even the expectation that with the fall in the rate of inflation, prices may go down is pedestrian.
I agree with you.
It's very, very pedestrian because even with the fall in the rate of inflation, prices are still expected to go up.
At a slower pace, that's all.
At a slower pace, but they're still going up. Technically, in economic terms, that's what it means. You know, so when you have leaders who are seeking power come and make these pedestrian remarks, it makes an impact on the electorate.
I agree, and I think he's speaking more to the image of the party, you know, by virtue of some of the commentaries that have been made. I think that's where Mr. Kwesi Pratt is coming from. Anyway, so let's now look at some other issues which have been, I think, the last 2 days or so has received considerable public attention and public commentary as well. It has to do with cocoa politics. Cocoa politics. How did it start? Finance Minister released a statement and says producer price of cocoa has been pegged at this. And you also had the Ghana Cocoa Board CEO who's been going around media houses explaining the factors that went into computing the current cocoa prices. But the minority says they won't have any none of that because they believe that the government and Cocoa Board are not telling Ghanaians the entire truth. They're telling us half-truth. So again, back to the Daily Guide. Now page 6. Page 6 of today's paper says that apparently you are a cocoa farmer, I'm told. Oh, okay. So what hat are you wearing today? Are you wearing the hat of a cocoa farmer? Or are you wearing the hat of an MPP rep and a member of parliament?
Both.
Both. Oh, Michael. So Ernest Kofedu, who is a parliamentary correspondent, reports that a minority in parliament has criticized the recently announced cocoa producer price for the 2025-2026 season, describing it as a betrayal of Ghana's hardworking cocoa farmers and a complete departure from campaign promises made by the governing NDC. Addressing the media in Parliament yesterday, ranking member of the Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, Dr. Isaac Yaupoku, said that 3,228.75 per kilogram per 64 kg bag announced by government represents a meager 4.2% increase from the previous season's price of 3,100. Now, it says a figure he deemed ridiculously low and a stab in the back of cocoa farmers. The price is laughable, comical, absurd, shameful, unfair, and a complete sakawa. Dr. Poku declared and added, it is monumental disappointment that betrays the trust of the very farmers this government promised to uplift. Now, the minority accused government officials, particularly the Finance Minister, Dr. Kazlato, forcing the Food and Agriculture Minister, Eric Opoku, of reneging on bold campaign promises made in the lead up to the 2024 elections. At the time, Dr. Opoku said the NDC then opposition assured cocoa farmers of 6,000 cedis per bag price, while Dr. Atufo in Parliament promised 7,000 cedis. Now that they are in government, where are those promises? Dr. Opoku queried, urging the two ministers to explain the disparity between their campaign pledges and the current official price. He also questioned President John Mahamed's earlier commitment to pay farmers 70% of the free on-board price, citing global cocoa market figures to argue that farmers are being shortchanged. Now, at today's world market price of 8,211.23 per ton, 70% translates to about 3,718 per bag. Now the poultry 3,228.75 were being told to accept. Then they said the minority further noted that Ghanaian farmers are now earning less per bag than their Ivorian counterparts who receive the equivalent of 3,635. This, they warned, will create strong incentives for smuggling cocoa beans across the country's borders, especially from regions like Western North, Ahafo, and Volta. How can Ghanaian cocoa farmers be happy when the counterparts across the border are earning over 400 cedis more per bag? The minority ask and argue that, and this undermines both our cocoa industry and national security. Dr. Poku also demanded clarity on Cocoa Board's finances, questioning whether the industry truly lacks funds, as claimed by the government. If Cocoa Board is broke, how much revenue did it raise in the last season? Was it not over $3 billion? He added, also challenging the rationale behind what he described as one-ton transfers of personnel since the NDC took office in January 2025. And it says he further dismissed the government's claims of providing free inputs such as insecticides, fertilizers, and jute sacks, saying the costs are borne by farmers as part of the FOB pricing. Michael, fortunately, you're a cocoa farmer.
Yeah.
Do I assume that you are also not happy with the producer price index? Producer price of cocoa?
Moro, do you know what every cocoa farmer looks out for?
What do you look out for?
A higher price.
Okay.
So if you are taking 3,001, you are expecting that at least you take 5,000 or 6,000, and then you are giving 120 cedis.
Okay.
What happens is you'll be disappointed, and the disappointment is coming out from the fact that there is betrayal of trust. The last election, there was a serious campaign mounted for a 6,000 a bag price of cocoa. And that campaign had gone into the fiber, into the minds of every farmer. So it is very difficult today because the farmers do not understand why you are unable to give them that price that you promised them. What is happening with this whole cocoa issue is not because maybe Dr. Anyabi is not doing something right, but it is because there was a promise, and that promise is not being fulfilled. And we are not far from that promise, because it was just some few months ago when that promise was made. And yesterday I said that the one person I sympathize with today is Dr. Anyabi, because from no fault of his, he happens to sit in the hot seat today. And comments and promises made by others are now haunting him because he has to defend the situation now. The press conference by the minority, I read it last night and I realized Dr. Aiwa Opoku mentioned transfers and so on. So we talk about, there's been commentary that Cocoa Board is insolvent. But then, according to Aiwa Opoku, more than 60, almost 100 people have been transferred, directors and managers within the system. And if you understand how Cocoa Board works, a transfer grant is about 40,000 for managers and 80,000 for directors. So just transfers alone, you are looking at about over 5 million Ghana cedis transfers. And then they are going to promote people to fill those transfers. And all those people who are going to fill those transfers will come at an increase in the wage bill. So all these factors are going on. Then you come to the farmer. What is the farmer getting? Today the price has been increased by 128 cedis per bag. You had initially promised 6,000. Dr. Atoforsen had promised 6,000, not less than 6,000. Honorable Eric Opoku, not less than 6,000. And quite interestingly, all these people are in charge because Cocoa Board is now under finance, and there are 3 ministries that regulate Cocoa Board. That is finance, agric, and trade. So 2 out of the men who made those promises are there at the realm of affairs, and they are all working with Dr. Randiabi. What is interesting is that Cocoa Board says the achieved FOB is $7,200, and based on that, they are giving the farmer $5,040, which means there is an extra to almost $2,200 that is coming to Cocoa Board for its activities, administrative work, administrative expenses, and other activities. If you look at the last pricing in the 2024 season, the achieved FOB was $4,850, and they were giving the farmer about $3,100 or more, about $3,200. So it means what was coming to Cocoa Board was about $1,700, $1,600. So today Cocoa Board is getting more in terms of funds coming to it, and it's because world market prices have gone up. I give it to NDC. In 2016, before they left office, cocoa prices were, the world market price was about $3,000. Today they came to office and it's ranging around $8,000. They have always come into office at the point when prices are at its highest peak. 2017, when MPP took over, the world market prices started dropping all the way down, bottom down to about $2,200, $2,400. By 2018, it was about $1,800. Today we are talking about $7,000, $8,000. 2018, it was $1,800. And you still had to give the farmer what you were paying in 2016. But then the then government managed it, supported it, had to subsidize fertilizer and all that to cross and get out of the woods. So today, if you have promised the farmer 6,000, the farmer is expectant. You see, our farmers are conservatives. If you sow an idea into their mind, they will hold you to it. And that is why there is a brewing anger amongst the farmers. The former chief executive used to say something, that we have to be careful how we politicize cocoa. If you've not been in that seat, there are things, that's why I say I sympathize with Dr. Randiabi. There are things you will not understand. Because cocoa is very technical. And the last election, I watched how we politicized. I remember there was a time the former chief executive was on Asempa FM to explain why we were giving the farmer 3,100 cedis per bag. And our younger brother, Sami Jemfi, who is now the CEO for Good Board, challenged him that it is not true. Pricing is done on spot. I remember clearly because that particular program, it was myself and Dennis Miracles who arranged with the Asempa team that he should go and explain the 3,100 because people didn't understand. So he went there to do the explanation. And Sami Jemfi challenged him on the show that, you know what, Chief Executive, you don't know what you are talking about. You are lying to Ghanaians. To the extent that he used words on him that day I felt so sad, that he is empty and incompetent. He used those words on him. So the chief executive told him, you know what, we have an office at Cocoa Board called the trading room. They do the trading and all these pricing things. You can come there, open our doors for you so that the technical people will explain. Maybe you think I'm a politician. Asempa carried their cameras to Cocoa Board trading room to get the real facts. Even the next day when they had come out to the facts, Sami Gyamfi continued to oppose it vehemently. So the message was sunk into the minds of people that the 3,001 was not enough. And the interesting thing was that, you know, in cocoa pricing, just like any commodity trading, prices fluctuate. Prices are very volatile. Tomorrow, today, oil may be $60 per barrel. Tomorrow, it will be $70 per barrel or $75. Cocoa may be $8,000 today. Tomorrow, it can come to $7,000 based on market sentiment, speculations, demand and supply, forecast, and so on. The next day, it might jump to $10,000. So what they did was they picked a single day spot price of $10,000 and used it for calculation and sold it to Ghanaians. And they did not appreciate that you will need to pick the cumulative average price over the season to do your pricing. And the cumulative average price over the season then was $4,850. And the then government gave about 64%, 65%. That came to the 3,100 cedis per bar.
It was 63%.
63%. No, they used 16 cedis. But during the time, the BOG was not using 16 cedis for Cocoa Board. Just like today, on the market, dollar is about 13, 12 point something, but BOG is giving 10.25 to Cocoa Board.
Yes. What did BOG give at the
BOG
time?
was giving about 14.5 then.
Okay.
So if you use that to do the calculation, it was more than the 63 they are saying.
Okay. So
yes.
that takes you to about 65%.
Yes, about 65%.
Okay.
So the conversation today is happening because of the politicization that had been done yesterday. That is why the conversation is where it is today. And I don't sympathize with them. I don't. Today I sympathize with the farmer because I told you I'm wearing two shoes. The farmer and as a member of parliament. And most especially when prices are so high. When today they speak about, this is the first time I've seen a release that talks about giving farmers free insecticide. Listen to this. Free insecticide, free pesticide, free spraying machines. This has been going on since President Kufuor's time. And you don't even separate them. There's a program called the cocoa mass spraying. I think Uncle Kwesi is aware of this.
Yeah.
When they are doing mass spraying, there are two types of spraying. When they are spraying insecticides, they use the motor brew, the mechanical sprayer, the one they call the motor brew. And then the mass sprayers will mix the chemicals and spray the whole farm. And then when they are spraying the pesticides, they use the knapsack sprayer to do it. And today, they don't give the spraying machines to a single farmer. They have cooperatives or let's say a union. So a cooperative will come to the cocoa office or the CHED office, and then they will assign a mass spraying team to them, give the team fuel and all these things, and the spraying gun will go and spray. So when you list these items individually, it shows some level of disingenuity on your part. You mentioned that you give them free flower inducers. Flower inducers has always been given to them for free. What are flower inducers? It's a chemical that is sprayed on the cocoa so that the flowers will come out. It's always given to the farmers. And when it's given to them, after the flower inducers are sprayed, that is when the farmers then do the pollination, which was introduced by the previous government, so that you get more pods on the tree. So all these things have been going on. The previous government was doing mass spraying. It was giving free flower inducers. It was doing pruning, mass pruning. The first time we ever did mass pruning in this country, can you imagine as a country? We have a farm, you have farms, cocoa farms, and we were not pruning them. We were not even advising or teaching the farmers to prune them. Even in the Bible, The Bible says that sometimes you need to prune the bad branches off. So biblically, when you are treating a farm, you need to do pruning so that you get fresh branches. But we were not doing the pruning. So the previous government introduced the mass pruning and all these things. The issue of fertilizer, there was a period in time, Cocoa Board has reports from the security agencies and so on that show that the free fertilizer was moving to Burkina Faso, Togo and so on, as far as Nigeria. So what they did to reduce it was that they brought two solutions. One, to form the cooperatives. Cooperatives didn't exist. The previous government formed the cooperatives, the groups of farmers, let's say 1,500, you come together and form a cooperative. So when the fertilizer is coming, we know that, okay, Uncle Kwesi Pratt and his cooperative, they have farms measuring about 120 acres together. Each acre is supposed to get, let's say, 4 bags of fertilizer. So they do the multiplication and the trust comes straight to the cooperative, releases the fertilizer to the cooperatives, and the cooperatives will apply the fertilizer. And then there is a subsidy program. So instead of giving it out for free, the cooperative will pay some minimum amount. So let's say if a bag of fertilizer, just saying, is 200 cedis per bag. Let's say the government will say pay 60 cedis per bag as subsidy. And then when you pay the 60 cedi, what the 60 cedis is intended to do is to prevent you from smuggling, because it will add an additional cost, which when you take it outside this country, it will make the bag expensive. So that was what was happening. Today you say you waived off the subsidy program and that you are going to give the fertilizer free to the farmers. Fine, fair enough, because even when you were doing the subsidy, people were going around telling the farmers that, oh, this government used to give it to you for free. These people are selling it to you, so don't pay. So it was difficult for the farmers to pay. And I have listened to Dr. Randiabi says that he mentioned that even with the subsidy program, the returns were not coming. And we are aware that people were not paying because the politicization on the grounds was so effective that farmers would take the fertilizer and say, well, NDC gave it to us for free, so we won't pay. But then they still kept it in place so that it will control the smuggling of the fertilizer. So all these things are in place. They are nothing new. But if you come out and say, okay, because we are doing these things for you, so that's why we are not increasing for you, it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous. And most especially, farmers are conservatives. You sold the idea of 6,000 to them. They are expectant of 6,000. I may understand because I have done commodity trading and I understand the numbers. But how many people understand it like me? How many people understand it like me? And most especially when you yourself came out to tell the general public that the previous government was not giving farmers enough. They were cheating farmers. You sold the idea of cheating. Today when I was coming, I was listening to a radio when Dr. Atoforsen was saying that Nanado and Dr. Bawumia took part of the money. They were supposed to give farmers 6,000. They gave 3,000. And so when farmers meet Nanado and Dr. Bawumia, they should go and collect their 3,500 from them and that they are thieves. I was like, wow. So they said all these things. I was shocked. So, today what is happening is the worst of those in government today, the words they use in opposition, that is what is haunting them. It's their own words that is haunting them today.
I have a number of questions for you, but let me bring in Mr. Kwesi Pratt, and then I can ask those questions. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't think that Dr. Randiabe should be pitied. I've done an interview with him. I've listened to him. And I think that he knows his facts. He has his correct analysis and is able to respond to all the charges which are being leveled against him and so on. And the facts are very, very grim. Within the last 8 years, and you should know because you're a cocoa farmer, cocoa production has gone down by about 50% or more. That's a fact. The industry is not a thriving industry. Cocoa production has gone down by about 50%, maybe more. Not just that, we have also engaged in future sales of the commodity. Okay. So if you sit down and you use current world market prices for your calculations, you don't know what you're talking about. We sold the cocoa for this year, long ago. And we are going to get prices for, not for this year, but prices before. So this calculation using current price and so on is absolutely nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. We've done future sales. It's gone. It's also clear that normally we do cocoa purchases with syndicated loans. Last year, we didn't get 1 peso as syndication loans because of our incapacity to repay the loans. We couldn't get 1 peso as syndication loan. That's a fact. You understand? Now, it is also a fact that loans that we went and took for the rehabilitation of cocoa farms and seedlings and so on were expended on something else. The farms are not there. We know that also as a fact. The farms are not there. The monies have been wasted. Okay. Then, listening to Dr. Randy Abbey, I get the impression, again, that funds available to the Cocoa Board have been so terribly mismanaged. For example, there's the issue of jute sacks. The importation of jute sacks is so murky. I mean, we had sufficient quantities to last us for 2 years, and yet we were buying more and more and more. I've forgotten the exact figure. But it's like we bought jute sacks which would last us for 5 years or more.
You mentioned 3 years.
3 years. Fine, I would accept 3 years. You understand?
And then in December, we ordered about $48 million worth of the same jute sacks, even though the 3 year jute sacks had been locked there somewhere unused.
And the money available in our accounts in the commercial bank in London was spent buying these things that we didn't need and so on. I mean, it's so horrible, it's unbelievable. Now, what irks me is that those responsible for this horrible state of affairs are the very people who have the effrontery now to come and be sermonizing. You leave the cocoa industry in this state, horrible state, the most horrible state since independence. There's never been a year in which cocoa production has gone down by more than 50%. 50%. You leave the industry in this horrible, extremely horrible state. And you can sermonize on what is right and what is wrong in the cocoa industry. It just beats me completely. Now, again, when they are talking about this package, they are only talking about the producer price. They are not talking about the incentives which have been introduced. My brother here, Honorable Member of Parliament, he has been a little honest and spoken about the incentives. But he says they are normal. They are not normal. They cannot be normal. You know why?
Why?
Cocoa scholarships covered secondary education.
Yeah.
With the introduction of free SHS, you could not be talking about cocoa scholarships for secondary education anymore. It was free for anybody, everybody, anyway.
Yeah.
So cocoa scholarships for secondary education stopped 8 years ago. Now, what they're doing now is that, yes, because it's free for everybody, it makes no sense to announce cocoa scholarships for secondary education. So now, for cocoa farmers, lots of cocoa farmers, we are going to pay for their tertiary education. That is new. That's a new package. It's not old. You understand? Now, when it comes to fertilizers, unless the media has been misleading us, the supply of free fertilizer, absolutely free fertilizer to farmers was stopped. So there's a new element to that one, and we need to admit that. Okay? So you're talking about the scholarships, you're talking about the supply of free fertilizers, you're talking about the spraying which Honorable Member of Parliament described in detail and so on.
The mass cocoa spraying.
Mass cocoa spraying and so on. Now we are talking also about the rehabilitation of farms. And mind you, you know that the swollen shoot disease is up again.
Yeah.
Master, you know that. Swollen shoot disease
No, it's been there. It's always there.
No, but now there's a new intensity.
It's been intensive. That's why they started fighting it.
Yeah.
It's been intensive.
But with the passage of time, it gets more intensive.
Yeah.
It's always
so you need to be rehabilitating continuously.
Fantastic. And thank you very much. You know, so my brother, you need resources to save the cocoa farmer from the swollen shoot disease.
Yeah.
Because the swollen shoot disease will wipe the cocoa trees off.
Yeah.
And make it impossible for the farmer to earn anything. Now, all these measures have been put in place, and all you decide to focus attention on is the producer price. Abba, why? Why, Abba? Why? So, look, the cocoa farmer, and to be honest with you, the cocoa farmer has never been in a very good place. I mean, you go to the villages, you go to the cocoa farming villages and so on, and you see the conditions under which cocoa farmers live.
Yeah.
They live in mud houses with thatched roof. You know, in many cocoa communities, buying a piece of cloth for your wife at the end of the year when you receive your payment and so on is cause for celebration.
Yeah.
So cocoa farmers are not in the best of conditions, and I think that we should increasingly advocate measures which would improve the life of cocoa farmers. You know, modern housing, you know, with modern facilities and so on is something we should be advocating for. You know, right now, cocoa farmers don't even have water to drink.
Right.
The streams from which they drink have been polluted, so massively polluted and so on. It becomes a huge problem, you know, for them. I think we need to introduce new technology for drying cocoa, breaking the pod and drying it. I mean, I've seen some new Chinese technology which is very interesting. I don't see why we cannot be designing those simple machines here in order to reduce the burden of the cocoa farmers. So there's a lot that can be done for cocoa farmers, but those who seek equity, we are told, ought to at least make the effort to come with clean hands. You're seeking equity, your hands are dirty with filth. And you want to seek equity. How? So, look, the cocoa industry has been substantially devastated over the last 8 years. Substantially devastated over the last 8 years. We need to make renewed efforts to rebuild it. And in doing so, I think it's absolutely important for us to check populism and to focus attention on the real facts in the industry. And the real facts in the industry don't look pretty.
You talked about a promise which was made in the past of paying cocoa farmers some 6,000, in some cases 7,000 cedis or so. At the time, the FOB was about $9,000. True?
No, that was a spot price. When we talk about FOB,
okay,
there's FOB. Today's FOB is about $8,500.
Right.
You cannot use that to price. But what have they achieved? So that's why we have achieved FOB. So today's achieved FOB is 7,200.
Right.
That is why we use in token. You don't go and use the spot on the market. So at the time, spot FOB 9,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean that is what you are getting. But the average FOB then, because remember, the price there didn't get to 9,000. It came from 2,000.
Okay.
So you were buying 2,000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 3,000 until you reach the 9,000.
Right.
So you have to strike the average.
Yes.
And that is why they got the 4,850.
So,
I see. So
at what price are we selling cocoa today, given
So-
the fact that
so
we've done
today-
future sales?
So today they are using an achieved FOB of $7,200 and giving the farmer 70% of that, which is $5,040.
Yes.
Which translates to 3,228 cedis per
Yes.
bag,
Yes.
using 16 cedis, 16
No,
bags per ton
Yes,
as a
16.
division.
I'm talking about future sales.
you 16 bags
Did we
per
sell
ton.
So-
at 2024
so the reason why
prices, or we
today-
sold at 2,000 prices.
No,
we sold
then
at 2,000.
You do more future sales when you go for syndication.
Yes.
So 2023, 2024, they had gone for syndication. So you have to do more future sales. That is why the price was then. But then, remember in 2024,
yes,
Uncle Kwesi talks about the fact that we couldn't get a single PESWA. The history
through syndicated loan.
Through syndicated.
Okay, so I'll let you explain that, but so just give it just a second.
It will help address what I'm coming
time
to.
Is up.
Oh,
time is up. It's extremely important. We should have gone on break like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, it would have helped address what I'm
No, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop you at all. It's a very important point you want to make based on what Uncle C has said, but just 5 minutes ago we should have gone. So you're watching Good Morning Ghana. Please stay with us.
Were you the one who said that you need X number of bags before they brought them here? No, please. You were just there and they brought it? Yes. So it's not as if you needed that you made a requisition?
They looked at the number of finished.
Who looked? I'm saying, did you make a requisition?
No, please.
So you were just there and they dumped it on you? And you obviously don't have need for it this year?
No.
You don't have need for it this year, do you?
No.
You don't have need for it? No. So this thing will be here.
The year is over.
Yeah, they'll be here till next season.
The year is over. In terms of your CD and all that, it's already over.
What kind of nonsense is this?
The committee report you gave that time, you have done over 90% already.
Yes.
So it's over.
Yes. Because when you did that report, you said you had done 90%.
Yes.
So why would they bring all these things here? Why do you import all these things? We're just importing things that we didn't need. And you come and dump these things here.
I'd earlier indicated that Cocoa Board had a negative equity.
What does that mean?
Okay, so Cocoa Board's liabilities were far in excess
of its assets.
So by about 1.4 billion.
Oh.
And so
dollar.
CDs.
Okay.
Technically speaking, it's
insolvent.
It's insolvent. Yeah. Technically speaking, it's insolvent. So it's an insolvent company.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Two, it's a company that had debts of close to 33 billion, 32 point, I think about 4 billion CDs. Okay, now, I need to explain something with the debt. Cocoa Board had an exposure of 21 billion CDs with respect to just cocoa roads. Now, people tend to confuse it. They think that the 32.4 billion includes the 21 billion. No. The 21 billion CDs has to do with contracts, road contracts that Cocoa Board has signed. Now, in this 32.4 billion, you have 4.4 billion of cocoa roads debts, 4.4 billion. So this 4.4 billion has to do with works that have been completed and certificates issued, which were sitting at the cash office of Cocoa Board. So these are certificates raised and certified by the consultants, which were at our cash office. That's 4.4 billion. So the 32.4 billion includes only 4.4 billion of certificates raised and certified sitting at the cash office of Cocoa Board. What it means is that you have an additional about 17 billion or so that you have not had certificates raised yet. But these are contracts that have been signed by Cocoa Board. Don't forget that Cocoa Board is not one of the road agencies as far as the Ministry of Roads is concerned. The Ministry of Roads itself and all its agencies have an exposure of 67 billion, which they are crying over. So Ministry of Roads with all its highways, feeder roads, urban roads, and all that, they are crying over an exposure of 67 billion. And Cocoa Board had an exposure of 21 billion. Since I assumed office, I've been to all the cocoa regions in Ghana. I've been to their cocoa farms, interacted with them. I've had debates with the farmers and all stakeholders at every place that I've gone to. I have spoken to them, I have listened to them. There are some of the sharpest people that you can find around. They understand what is going on. They know what they are doing. They will tell you about a comparison between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. And they will tell you that today, the 51,000 something they are getting compares to Cote d'Ivoire, which is at about 30, less than 40,000. Far less than 40,000. They'll be able to tell you that. That if they compare themselves to Cote d'Ivoire, this is where it is. So they know. The farmers are aware. The farmers are aware that His Excellency the President has provided them a subsidy for the period of the 24-25 season, that the exchange rate, the cedi gained strength over the US dollar. They know that. There are people who have decided that yes, they will play mischief, they will get into the arena and all that. This issue of what somebody said previously, I asked you, who in this country, all the people in parliament, even those who served in government, how many of them knew that there was a rollover and that those rollovers were priced at 2,600, and that is what determined the weighted average of 24-25, 4,850, for which reason, although cocoa prices were higher then than now, the farmer was getting $3,100. And will anybody tell me that they prefer the cedi to be 16 cedis than 10.25?
Maybe some people want.
So they should come out and say that.
Yes, maybe some people
that we prefer the cedi to be 16 cedis than 10.25.
If you apply
that is 16, how Ghana will develop. They should tell us that.
Yes, because if you apply that 16 by this same $5,040, that's almost 800,000. That's almost
80,600.
Yes.
If the exchange rate was 16, it would be 80,600.
Maybe some people.
So ask yourself. So that's why I asked you the question: is Ghana better off with a stronger currency or a weaker currency?
I think the answer is obvious.
Yes.
Here at Mycom JA Limited to show you the Promethean Active Panel, the ultimate tool for corporate institutions, hospitals, schools, and your home. With its crystal clear 4K display and an unbreakable screen with an ultra responsive touch technology, this isn't just a screen, it's a game changer. For corporate institutions and in schools, this active panel can be used for Zoom meetings and PowerPoint presentations. And oh, your homes are not left behind. You can use it to watch all your favorite programs by just connecting to a Fire Stick, and you can get access to channels like Netflix and Amazon, and voila, you are in there. At Mycom JA Limited, we provide you with the best quality products from the United States of America with 1-year warranty. You can get an active panel at a discounted price of 18,000 Ghana cedi only, and it comes with a Fire Stick, a webcam, and a micro system. You can locate us at Chado Container behind the Trade Fair. Visit Mycom JA Limited today and elevate your tech.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo kendini, ehu behia, se mecha sapapadia to ama me manfo. Kel Chaco's natural ingredients. Eno bomb se ho ban. E mane swen ne sanso mama hoto so e wo bedwam.
Kel Chaco toothpaste. Choose Kel Chaco toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to Rehoboth Palm Ayumensa Gated Community. Nestled between the vibrant city of Accra and the breathtaking Ebri Mountains lies a serene gated community. Here, you'll find litigation-free, fully serviced demarcated plots to build your dream house in a gated community surrounded by lush greenery and the calming beauty of nature. Perfect canvas for your dream home you want to build. With well-tarred roads, a reliable drainage system, electricity and water, fully serviced plots are ready for your vision. Enjoy exclusive amenities like a swimming pool, tennis and basketball courts, all within the comfort of your community. Start your mornings with peaceful walks or energizing jogs under the shade of palm trees and stunning views of the Peduase Ebri Mountains and city skyline. Starting from 450,000 Ghana cedis and a flexible payment plan, visit www.rehobothpropertiesgh.com to make inquiries. Call or WhatsApp us on 020-682-3524, 055-375-1933, or 024-476-4499. Rehoboth Properties, quality housing for all.
Wezalo Amarab. Yes.
Ghana Tourism Authority welcomes you to the 2025 African Marketing and Technology Conference.
From digital storytelling to destination marketing, welcome to Ghana, the gateway to Africa.
Come here and build high-valued network. And of course, you build this network with great industry leaders.
We can't wait to host you. From our immersive cultural experiences to the plethora of our sun, our beaches, our gastronomy. Woo!
We are asking all of you to come network at this beautiful event. Events that will actually teach you the real value of marketing to tourism.
Yes, the Aquaba Night. Come and experience our rich heritage. Come and dance to the beat and rhythm of our music and culture. This is Ghana Tourism Authority.
You're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. I'm here with Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., an elderly statesman and also a journalist, and also Michael Kwesi Edu, who is an MP for Oforikrom. We're doing cocoa politics, and there were some technical things that he was trying to educate us on because we are mere mortals, we are laymen. It sounds a little confusing, but especially the FOB conversation, and then also that of Jude Back. Let's see if we can use. Because we have just 15 minutes, to in fact, not even 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes to leave here. So try and make it as simple as you can with this FOB conversation based on what Mr. Kwesi Pratt said.
Yes. So, Moro, the FOB, as you said, is quite technical.
Yes.
Difficult to explain for people to get it quite easily. But I know people, I'll try to do my best. So there are daily published world market prices. They are called daily published prices.
Okay.
Every commodity, whether you are selling steel, oil, cocoa, or whatever, they publish the daily prices. So that is the FOB, daily FOB.
Okay.
And the daily FOB is also termed as spot, a spot price. So
Okay.
spot means today, today, today.
Okay.
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 And even when you drill down for traders, even with a spot, today there may be time intervals. People may trade morning, a time in the morning, and in the afternoon the price has changed and they will still trade. Okay. That's why when you look at the bars of the movement of price, you see that the bars the candle lights, it can go down and up and so on. So every minute, every second, the prices are changing. But what happens with cocoa is that cocoa is a seasonal crop. Every commodity and the time period they use in pricing. So oil uses a 2 weeks average. So in oil, you would pick the daily FOB or the daily spot prices and average it over a 2 weeks period. In cocoa, you will pick a seasonal average and strike the average and then use it in your pricing. What the mistake a lot of people are doing, and the same mistake that the current administration did in opposition, was they picked a daily spot price, 1 day's price, and used it to do a calculation and gave it to Ghanaians that this is what MPP should have been paying.
So that at the time the Sami Jemfi and Co were talking,
yes,
it was the price on that day.
On that day, a
Which is called
$10,000 day price, FOB price.
Okay.
But then even the day they said it, I think the price remained for 2 days,
Yes.
$10,000. And even the fact that it's $10,000 does not mean that when you hit the market, somebody will buy, because the buyer is also rational.
Yeah.
Today, if they ask you to go and buy cocoa and you go to the market and today is 10,000, you wait some 2 days to see if it will come down. And every buyer does the same thing. Sometimes you wait a little to see if the market will come down before you buy. So when you hit 10,000, doesn't mean you bought at 10,000.
Right.
Okay. Subsequently, the price moved from 10,000 to about 8,000, 7,000. Sometimes it will come all the way to about 6,000. Then it will go up. You see, there are forces that help the market to fluctuate. So prices are volatile, based on demand and supply forecasts, based on weather conditions, based on geopolitics and so on. A lot of factors can affect. Even when COVID came, it affected prices of cocoa. Cocoa prices crashed to about $1,800 per ton. So once the factors are playing, the prices will keep going up and down. And then they pick just a single day's price and use it to give the price and give it to Ghanaians. That this is what the MPP government should have paid you. Instead of picking the average over the period. Because you remember, cocoa prices have crashed from COVID period all the way to 2023. So it was now recovering. And it will start from $2,200 to $2,004, 2006, 2008, 3,000, all the way up to the 10,000.
Okay.
So within the period, the seller will be selling some at 2,002, some at 3,000, some at 3,004, all the way up. So when you strike the average, you are not going to get your 10,000. And at that period, when they strike the average, they got $4,850. And out of that $4,850, they gave $3,100. If you multiply by the FX and divide by 16 bags, then you get 3,100 cedis per bag. Today, they've struck the average over the long period, and they are getting $7,200. And out of that, they say they are giving 70% to the farmer, which translates to $5,040 per ton. And when you divide or you multiply by the FX BOG rate of 10.25, which they are using, which they are even have issues because BOG rate, if you Google, is 10.5 on the market.
Okay.
So I don't understand why they are using 10.25, which is quite low. If you multiply by the 10.25 and you divide by 16 bags, that's why they are giving the farmer 3,228. But Moro, on the issue of the juicers, you see, jute is also a plant. Jute is a plant. It's not rubber or processed from artificial sources. It's a natural plant. So it's gotten to the plant called kenaf.
Okay.
And kenaf is planted like how we plant our maize here. It takes 3 months when you plant, about 3 months to plant and cultivate. And once you plant and you cultivate, it has to be processed through the factory to get the jute. And it takes another 3 months or so to process to get the jute. Once it's processed, you know, Ghana, we ship most of our cocoa to the EU market.
Okay.
And the EU has requirements. You need to apply some special oils to the jute bag so that infestation and all these things will not happen to the bag. Before you know, cocoa jute is special. It's not like the normal light jute bags that they use in, they put rice and so on in them. Cocoa jute is very, very special. So, and it's very heavy too. So they need to do all these processing to get it to the standard that means the EU market. You have to place an order. It's not like they are producing the juice sacks on the market and you go today, you enter the market and you buy your juice.
Because these are special kinds of jute bags. They are
special kinds of jute bags. Ghana, Ivory Coast especially, they place orders for the juice sacks. And once you place the order, it will take a whole year to process it. Now, after it's taking a whole year to process it, shipping will take a couple of months to get to Ghana because they can't ship all together and they do not process all together. They process it in batches. So shipment will be coming in batches. Okay. This is the situation where you end up going into about 18 months before the juice sacks arrive. And you have a forecast. So you use your forecast to place the order. 18 months is a long period.
Here you're talking forecast in terms of
your production
cocoa.
forecast, exactly.
Okay.
So if you forecasted 800,000 tons, you place an order for that.
Maybe 850.
Maybe 850.
Okay.
And then it will come. Then subsequent year, you will check. Okay, I placed 800,000 tons. I didn't get 800, I got 600,000.
Okay.
So maybe the next year, my forecast is 700,000. So you place for 700,000. There shouldn't be a time there will be shortage of juice sacks on the market. That would be chaos for the cocoa farmer. So you are always placing the order 2 years in advance because of the process it takes in ordering juice sacks. Okay. So in 2016-17, before the former administration took over, the past administration led by Dr. Opuni, they had placed order for them. Before they handed over, they had placed the order. And when you place the order, you have to make payment in escrow accounts in the UK so that the suppliers can have access to their funds before they will go and start the processing against the following 2 years.
So they don't incur a possible loss?
No. That is how it is. So I think some of these things, they really have to sit down and have a discussion. I get surprised when these things come into the public because these are normal processes that anybody who has been there knows that these are normal processes that goes on. In Dr. Opuni's time, they used to place the same orders. The same people supply, they have not changed. The same people from Opuni's time who were supplying, they are the same people supplying till today. They have not changed. Because the same people supply Ivory Coast. They have not changed. So it surprises me when we try to make it look like there was something wrong with the order. In any case,
2021, no, so 2022, 2023, 2024. In fact, 2021, 2022, 2023.
So today,
yeah.
Before the last administration left, they placed an order
in December.
Yeah,
$48 million.
And you know, remember that the procurement process does not just start in a month. It takes a while to start. Okay, so it wasn't just done in December. It was done over a period, and it was finished. I think the payment was done in December also. And even in 2016-17, when Dr. Opuni was handing over the same period, that's when they made the next order for the juice sacks. What will happen is that there will be enough jute, and quite interestingly, production is coming back, turning around. And I've listened to even Dr. Randy Abbey make the same point that production is coming around for the countries. You know, after COVID, there was a climate situation called the El Nino effect, which affected all major producing countries. So it wasn't because somebody was not doing well, but it was because, you know, you do not have, it's an act of God, you do not have control over climate. So Ivory Coast, who was producing 2.3 million tons, dropped to 1.6 million tons. Today, Ivory Coast is now climbing from 1.6 million. Ghana, who produced 1 million tons in 2020-2021, had dropped to about 500,000 metric tons. So if somebody producing 2.2 has come to 1.6, you that you are, as at 2021, you were producing about 900, where would you drop to? But what even saved Ghana? Because apart from the climate, we had the CSSVD, the swollen shoot virus disease, which was affecting our farms. We had galamsey, which was affecting us. We had smuggling, which was affecting us. What even saved Ghana the most was the production enhancement programs like pruning and pollination and the rehabilitation. That saved Ghana. And let me read an IMF report for just this July that the IMF published on cocoa. The IMF said production during the 2024-2025 season has recovered thanks to a more favorable climate.
Okay.
And ongoing interventions to enhance productivity. Example, artificial pollination, mass pruning, mass spraying, and high-tech. This from the IMF. And the IMF says international cocoa prices has remained high. Cocoa Board is thus expected to honor the contracts rolled over from the previous year. Let me finish here. Honor the contracts rolled over from the previous year and those that originated in the current season, except for a small share already agreed on with buyers. Okay. Now, let me finish here. The IMF says the new financing model, which reduces reliance on syndicated loans in favor of other trade financing options, appears to have reduced liquidity constraints. So when the IMF says you've reduced liquidity constraints, how can you say the company is insolvent? And then the IMF says delivering faster payments to the farmers. Today, farmers go and buy their cocoa and they get pay cash payment. You don't have to wait or take a loan before later you go and pay. And he says Cocoa Board's cash flow is expected to remain balanced during the current season. So the new financial model has even helped their cash flow. That is why they didn't go for syndication alone again. And they are relying on the financial model that was introduced last year against going for syndication. In saying all this, there's one issue that I need to address before I go. You see, when it comes to rehabilitation, from President Kufuor's time, you know Craig, Cocoa Research Institute?
Yes.
One of the reasons they established Craig was as a result of CSSVD, this virus.
Yes.
So this virus is not today. It has existed for a long time. They established Craig to research into the virus and find how we were going to solve this virus problem. So government upon governments tried to do the rehabilitation. Even at Tamil's time, they were doing the rehabilitation. What happened was between 2013 to 2016, they stopped rehab and were rather giving seedlings to farmers to replant among their farms. But the disease is a virus, so even when you plant among the trees, the affected trees will affect the new seedlings, and it continues to spread. So in 2017, we realized that about more than 300,000 hectares had been affected by the disease, and our production was going down. And we made a case to AFDB and other agencies, and they forwarded about 270. They offered $600 million, but we didn't take all. We decided to take about $270 million, which was used for the rehab to do. They did about 68,000 hectares. Out of the 68,000 hectares, 40,000 hectares has been handed over. It means we have cleared our hands from your farm and given it to you. But there are farms, farms, it takes about 2-3 years before you hand over. So there are farms that are 1 year, 2 years, that have not been handed over within the 68,000 hectares. That one, I don't know why the current administration is refusing to talk about it, but prefer to talk about, you just use the 40,000 that has been handed over. There are a lot of farms, I have spoken to farmers who have their farms rehabilitated, but have not been handed over to them yet. So there's about 27,000 hectares of farms sitting there that Cocoa Board has to go and hand over.
Out of 154?
No.
Hectares.
The completed is 67,000 hectares.
I get it. But I'm saying that out of how many hectares were you supposed to rehabilitate?
So initially, when they started the program, they took a proposal of 154.
Yes.
Then they went to review it because they realized that the cost involved. Imagine if you are using, even if you use 67,000 hectares divided by the 200 and something million dollars, you'll be getting around $4,000 per hectare.
Yes.
Can you use $4,000 to rehabilitate 1 hectare for 2 years?
No, you can't.
You can't.
Okay. So what was agreed on?
The agreement was for 150, but then they went back to tell them that, you know what, why we did it, because this was the first time they were implementing rehab.
I get it.
So we've seen that this is what we can do.
Okay.
So we are going to do about 70,000,
okay,
which they did 67,000 hectares, and they've handed over 40,000 hectares.
I see.
And today, before they left, based on that record, they submitted the same documents to the World Bank, and the World Bank released $100 million to Cocoa Board to continue the rehabilitation. That is the $100 million Dr. Randiabi is going to use for rehabilitation now. The money came before he even came to office.
I see. For the rest of the hectares that have not been rehabilitated.
No, the $100 million cannot even finish the rest.
Yeah,
because you are looking about 350,000 hectares damaged farms, and you've done 67,000. $100 million is going to do about 20,000 hectares.
So the Honourable Neil Van der Poel sends a message. Says, Moro, please tell the Honourable Member that he's misleading the public. Pruning never started under the former government. Well, under Dr. Opuni, pruning and replanting was a major policy for revamping the cocoa sector.
Replanting was done, not pruning. Go to Cocoa Board, they will tell you. All the directors, technical advisors are there.
So it's the first you started
pruning? Pruning was started on a mass scale by the previous government. Replanting was done, yes, but the replanting was done for diseased farm, a farm that has a virus. Why would you go and replant in it?
Samaku Kelly from East Legon says, good morning, Maura. I think Mr. Michael Edu of Furukum MP is embellishing the issues regarding the mass spraying of cocoa farms and the supply of inputs to farmers. Mass cocoa farm spraying actually existed since the days of President Rawlings and beyond. It was rather a sad story that President Kufuor's government decided to do the spraying selectively based on party affiliations. This was later reversed to the status quo by the President Tamil's government, following numerous complaints from affected farmers and the fact that under President Kufuor, the fertilizers that were supposed to be distributed to farmers free of charge were actually being sold to them at exorbitant prices. No wonder cocoa production in Ghana took a dip of more than 50%. And this one from Musa Mansa from UK. It says, Captain Moore, the more I hear about jute bags, the more angry the more angry and sad I become. Is nobody thinking in our land called Ghana anymore? Sajiful knowing we will need such items as jute bags, build a jute factory. Where is it now? Today we as big as cocoa farmers should be making and supplying everything about cocoa to the rest of the world. More, when are we going to stop the talking and do some real thinking? Good morning. So I want to say a big thanks to you for watching Good Morning Ghana today. Thanks, Mr. Kwesi Jr. and also Michael Kwesi. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Are you a Ghanaian business ready to conquer new frontiers? From October 23rd to 25th, 2025, Ghana First Europe is your direct bridge to the lucrative Dutch and broader European markets. This is the ultimate platform to showcase your high-quality Ghanaian products and services